Could you start a meal plan company with just $500? I know I could. And I'm going to explain how I would do it in this video, specifically delivery and what that would look like, what your options are going to be, and how to go about it when you're first starting off. With a measly $500, how would I know what to do in this situation? Well, my name is Casey Cochran. I'm a very proud co-founder of Fit Food Fresh, and my business partner Steve and I started Fit Food Fresh from nothing and grew it to Florida's highest rated meal plan, and that's something that we're extremely proud of and happy to share with you and help you in your endeavors, or just help you appreciate a little bit of the behind the scenes on the new meal plan game, because I think everyone's going to be doing meal plans in the future. Maybe not everybody, but I think they're going to be very common. And the way we look at it is, as long as everybody's taking care of their own clients, we'll never put each other out of business. You take care of your people, I take care of mine. There's an endless amount of eaters, right? We'll never be able to get everybody, so might as well share some secrets, share some tips, share some scars, maybe have a little community. We have a bunch of friends in the meal plan industry, and we love going back and forth. So to make more friends and to share the experience that we've amassed over the last 6 years is it's really a lot of fun, actually. So again, getting right into deliveries. Obviously, like and subscribe and comment below anything else you want me to cover, any suggestions you have. I love critiques, anything that can help me provide a better service and a more entertaining or educational video for you. That's all I aim to do. So deliveries, first off, charge for it. Charge for it. I hate seeing companies who don't charge for their deliveries. You're in the convenience business. You're not selling them food, you're selling them convenience, you're selling time. The difference between you and Whole Foods is you come to them, all right? So you should make them, help your members, help your clients, help your customers appreciate the fact that there's a value in bringing you the food, right? You know, if they're not willing to pay you $15 to bring it to them, ask them if they'd be willing to come to you instead. You know, but yeah, they need to. I know people are spoiled with Prime. You know, there's different rebuttals. You know, you could say, well, you know, I don't take 2 days to get there. You know, stuff like that. But you want to definitely pay for the convenience of, or get them to appreciate that they're paying for the convenience of the food being there, and get them to appreciate that. So this will help you not only in the short term running your business, but this will also help you if you went to sell to another company, because we have an actual example where we were trying to acquire a company, is still a friend of that company to this day, and he's still, you know, doing what he's doing, still trying to grow, but he was trying to get out at the time, wanted to move to another state, and we were going through, you know, how we could acquire him, and we just couldn't, because he wasn't charging for delivery, and that's a loss that we'd be taking, and we just don't want to. You know, it's not in our business model to take a guaranteed loss on delivery. It doesn't make sense for us. There are companies, you know, who make that their thing, but they're losing. You know, it's hard to see from the outside, but trust me, it costs a lot of money, and it's the most important part of your business. If you're skimping and saving a buck on the delivery, you're probably hiring an inferior person to get the job done, and it's the last yard. It's the most important. Everything else that you've done, buying the right ingredients, hiring the right skilled chefs, and cooking the best food, plating it magnificently. If you deliver it to my neighbor, it's all for nothing. You lost me as a client. No matter how good all that other stuff was, you lost me. If you send a vegan a bunch of steaks, no matter how expensive those steaks were, you lost that steak client maybe. You lost the vegan client probably. And that's what you get. We actually had an experience where we were working with a courier, and we've used couriers in the past, brought it in-house. I actually was the first delivery driver, so we've done just about everything, and I'll explain that later. But at different levels, it makes sense to do different things, but delivery is something you definitely want to have revenue to cover, because you don't want to be tempted to skimp on it, because it will lead to your downfall. Schedule. I suggest Monday and Thursday deliveries, and I suggest doing them overnight. Overnight, there's less traffic, which means that you'll be able to get to your deliveries faster, which means routes are more efficient. Even if you're paying somebody hourly, even if you're paying somebody by the mile, they're going to quit because the route is taking them too long to do, and it's not worth their time to get paid by the mile. So it's hard to pay someone by the hour to do deliveries, and you're probably not going to do that. So you're just for efficiency's sake, trust me, deliver overnight. We have our guys leave here at midnight. They start hitting doorsteps and they're done before 6 a.m. We use cooler bags. I discussed this in the materials video. I have a video on materials as well. But we deliver in cooler bags with ice packs, keeping everything nice and cold. And members just wake up, throw it in the fridge, no knocking on the door or anything else like that. There are some headaches with dealing with overnight deliveries, guard gates and getting buzzed into buildings and things like that. And there's ways around that. You could do a you can do a morning delivery route, which we have overnight delivery route, which starts at midnight, and then we have morning delivery route, which leaves here at 7 a.m. and that starts delivering between 8 and noon, and it hits offices or buildings where you have to be buzzed in, and the person doesn't want to be buzzed at 3 a.m. or whenever our deliveries happen to be there. The other thing is never guarantee a delivery time. Give them a window, because if you have to adjust your route for efficiency, and I'll tell you about software that'll help you with that later, you might take someone who's used to getting it earlier and willing to stay up till 1, and all of a sudden they move to the back of the route and they're getting it at 4, and they're like, where the hell's my food? Or they're used to getting it, right at 5, and then they leave for work at 5:30, and then all of a sudden some people join and they're before them in the route, and it bumps them back to 5:45, and now they're late for work or the gym or wherever they're going. So don't set those expectations, because they will fluctuate as you grow and the routes change and everything else. Also, try to keep the same drivers on the routes. It just helps with familiarity, and when you're doing overnight delivery, definitely helps. So again, Monday and Thursday is what I suggest. Monday and Thursday before 6 a.m. and then the other routes once you have to. But again, morning route sucks because you're doing it in morning rush hour traffic, so they're not as efficient, and we try to do them only as necessary. Some companies do daily delivery. I would stay way away from it. Again, the delivery is crucial. If it's not done correctly, it ruins everything. It could ruin my day. Not only is daily delivery dangerous, because you're basically having that very fragile link applied in your chain 5 times a week now. The daily delivery companies I know of do 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. But not only are you taking that chance to mess up a delivery and deal with traffic and that expense every day for something that really doesn't matter, because the food should be fine for a few days, but you're also forcing the person to basically have to wait for the cable guy. If you're doing a daily delivery, it's just somebody who's waiting for the food. So if you're doing it overnight and you're late, these people might have to be waiting around for you. Or if you're doing it, like I know some of them do it like until I guess noon or something, so I have to be at the same place. You might be delivering it to work, and that's cool, but if I have to run out and go to the bank or something, I have to wait for this food to come at work. Or if I am sick that day, it's a Tuesday and you're delivering it to work, now I've got to have you deliver it to home for a couple of days, but now I'm feeling better, so now I gotta get you to switch back to work. It's just a whole lot more headache to deal with. Don't do daily delivery, because you'll spoil your clients, and they'll get used to it, and you'll never be able to get them off of it. There's companies who don't know. There's a company in particular who's tried to buy us out a couple of times. They don't know how we exist. They drink their own Kool-Aid, and they're like, how do you exist without daily delivery? How do people not want fresh food? Well, first off, buddy, you're not cooking your food every day. So I know the food's in the fridge for a few days. It's just not in your client's fridge. So you're telling them that it's fresh. That's what most companies do. And it'd be insane to do daily production. That's daily shipments, and it's not efficient. So daily sucks. 3 times a week is also borderline. I think it sucks. It might encourage more weekend deliveries, but we don't have anybody who say they don't order on the weekend because they don't think the food's fresh. They just don't want food on the weekends. So if we had that complaint, we would switch to maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like I know some companies do. Another company who's tried to buy us a couple of times, they do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We were actually just speaking with them, and we're just like, why are you trying to do it, that way? Like, is it a necessity? And they were actually like, no, actually, we were thinking about going back to twice a week because we don't think we sell that much more. So, and they're a much bigger company with a lot more money and a lot more people with initial positions. We don't really have a lot of those, so those companies are normally really smart, and they said that. So I guess we're the smart ones because we never did that. And then we've got weekly delivery. Either you're doing it on Monday because you're local, or maybe you're doing it on Tuesday because you're doing through FedEx. And FedEx, you can't like drop off on Sundays for overnight. You can only drop off on Mondays for overnight. FedEx sucks. You're not going to be doing FedEx with only $500 because you're going to be out materials for the cooling element, what's keeping the package cold, the food cold, the insulation, and the box, and then the tape, and then the label. It gets expensive, and that stuff you never get back. So you're not doing this with $500. So forget about FedEx or anything else. Plus, when we did it as a trial run, we sent 5 up the eastern seaboard to different states, New York, Connecticut, North Carolina, Georgia, and I forget where else, and I think 2 in North Carolina maybe, and 100% of them had at least 1 cracked meal, 1 open container or something, because at the end of the day, FedEx is bumping this stuff around. Actually, that wasn't FedEx. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was a test run up the eastern seaboard. It's probably a company you haven't heard of, but it was a headache, it was expensive, and it was a failure. So we haven't done it, and really, unless you're in a really small town, you should be able to saturate your area and make enough money if you just do a good job and have a good reputation. The only companies who have to really spread out are the ones who are chasing like capital, and they're trying to sell out to, I don't know, Amazon or something. Everyone's got that idea. Good luck, man. It gets really crazy with fresh food. If you're freezing stuff and you're using a MAP process, then you have that option. You can look at the MAP process, and it's basically a vacuum sealed kind of deal with this steam bubble kind of thing that, yeah, it makes the food last like, I don't know, 14 days. So your production is more efficient, you don't have waste, and you're able to like mail food out all over the place. But yeah, whatever. Those are expensive. I think that's like hundreds of thousands. I've heard a couple of million to get a MAP process. So again, not something we're dealing with. $500 to our name. Now, driving yourself in the beginning is probably what you're going to end up doing, and I would suggest it because it gives you a good lay of the land, gives you an idea of how the problem solving, what to train people to expect, different situations that you're going to get into. You'll understand what are very possible tasks and what are, hard tasks, and you'll appreciate common sense and how rare it is, because you'll have when you're the one dealing with your food and you're delivering the food and you have an issue trying to find an address, you're going to get on Google Maps, go a different way, and maybe try to find a different entrance to the same, like sometimes they'll take you to a guard gate, but nobody's at the guard, and you're like, how am I going to get in? The guard gate doesn't work, or there's no code. And then you look on Google Maps, and it's like, oh, there's another entrance on the other side. Let me see if I drive to this other entrance. Is there a guard there? Sure enough, 24-hour guard at that entrance. You're going to do that because you have that common sense and you care about your product. If you hire somebody, they might just go, oh, can't do it. I'm getting paid by the mile. Who cares? Unless they're getting paid by like successful drop, and that's not a bad model. We did that at different times, but you're probably not gonna. You're not going to want to just throw people out there without any guidance, and you're not going to be able to be very good at problem solving unless you've had to go out there and do it yourself. Like I said, and it also gives you a really good appreciation for the position. My business partner Steve and I have done almost every position in this company. I was the first delivery driver, then it was Steven. We've done everything but cook. So from delivery to customer service and shopping, even prepping food, but not actually cooking, peeling calabasas, squash, I always tell people, all sorts of stuff like that. So fun stuff. What else? Again, that crucial last yard, man, you're going to want to know it in and out. So I'll run you through what we did, and I'll talk about software. So we started off, it was just us. Then we hired this guy, Kai. He's like a friend of Steven's girlfriend or something like that. And Kai did our deliveries for a while. And then we're like, we don't even have the money to pay Kai. It was better off when we were doing it ourselves, and we'd just have to pay gas. So then I went and I was doing it for, I think I was the main delivery driver for, I think I was the only one for almost an entire year. And Steven would help out once we started growing. And man, that was so rough. And then I'd also have to work my full-time job. So 2 nights a week, I wouldn't sleep at all. And then I'd have to work my full-time job. And then Steven was doing the same thing. And then eventually we started hiring our own guys. And then we got to another point where it made sense for us to, it was too hard for us to hire enough people fast enough. It made sense for us to hire a courier. Then we weren't sure on, like, the courier's model is definitely way more expensive than us doing it ourselves. And we had a couple of guys ourselves, and between our guys and the couriers, we were making it work. And then what we did is at that time we were working with, I think, 3 different counties. We were covering 3 different counties. So once we opened up that 3rd county, we're just like, all right, let's try 3 different couriers, and we'll figure out which one's the best and go with them, but we'll also figure out which one has the best pricing model, and we'll get whichever one has the best service to use the best pricing model. I think it actually coincidentally worked out that the best courier, the one with the best drivers, that also had the best pricing model, so we didn't have to fight them on that, and we did that for a while. And then you'll notice, so like at these different at these different levels, it makes sense to do this. So at first, doing it yourself, then it makes sense to hire somebody. And in production, I mentioned these like different levels that you get to, where now it makes sense to get a chef and then another person. So with delivery, when you hire somebody, then it might make sense where it's like, doesn't make sense for us to have a manager yet, but I can't deal with hiring and firing and training. That's when you get a courier. Then when you grow a bit more, the courier is going to look pretty expensive, and you're going to be like, if I just paid a manager who could also do these other ancillary stuff, like take care of bag inventory and take care of ice pack inventory. We would have our logistics manager also as like a basic warehouse manager, and then it made sense to just bring that person back in, salary them, have them in charge of hiring, firing, and training, and make sure it's a good person. We did ours, we'd always pull people who were delivery drivers, so they had that experience, and we would always promote. So they had the respect from the other drivers. We got someone who was a solid driver, and good leaders. Especially, you need a good leader, because these people need to be solid in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., possibly dealing with a couple of drivers down here. We got like hurricanes and stuff. We've had to deliver like not in a hurricane, but right before a hurricane, like crazy conditions. I've done it myself many a time, and it is insane. And when you're calling for directions and you're getting sleep fatigue, you're going to want to make sure you got a solid leader who's going to be good at problem solving and not fail the mission and not pass the buck. Now, software. Route for me is one that we're not currently using. We used when we first started. We actually started with MapQuest, but you're going to want something with an optimizer, because that will allow you to plug in the addresses, and you could probably do it in an Excel sheet. Once you have enough, it'll be a pain in the ass to manually copy and paste them in there, so you want to just import an Excel sheet and optimize the route so it's as efficient as possible from your starting destination through to the last one. You're also going to want to know the capacity of cars, our bags, we fit an average of 25 to 30 depending on the size of the vehicle. And some minivans you obviously pack more, but you also don't want them packing too many. They would do it because they make more money on longer routes, or when they get paid by drop, they do it. The drivers would do it to make more money. But if they're packing too many bags on each other, it can be damaging stuff. So don't let them do that. Have a cutoff. I like making only experienced guys are allowed to regularly take 30. I tell them to try to keep it at 25. That way, if we have someone call out, it's easy to disperse because everyone's got like 25-ish. Someone might be at 28, but it's easier to disperse that when people aren't already at their limit. If everyone's already at like 28, 29, now all of a sudden we got to disperse, 30 bags, 28 bags over everybody else because everyone else is at near capacity. It's going to suck. So route for me is the first one. That's a good one. Our buddy with the meal plan around the corner is using that. It's not super intelligent, but it gets the job done and it's pretty cheap. On Fleet is a bit more intelligent. They are lacking some stuff, and unfortunately we left them, and we tried giving our feedback. When they first started, they were really good at getting feedback, and if they're listening, guys, I really hope you improve that. But we had some really basic stuff that we asked for months, and my guys were just like, they're just not doing it. When we first started, and they first started, I remember I was dealing with the CEO. I was emailing him back and forth. And I remember talking to him about the capital raise they just did. They were really attentive, and we're like, hey, you should add this feature. And like a week later, they added it. This is awesome. Then they just stopped doing that. So we left them. Now we're using Toucan, but from what I understand, mealplansoftware.com should be launching logistics with some AI. So that will be pretty crazy, and that should be very affordable. So logistics with AI to optimize the route, and then also be able to make considerations for having the same driver. If your driver is dealing with basically the same route, not only is he familiar with how to get there efficiently, but if there's special directions, like there's a dog in the front, so go around the the west side of the house and drop the dog, or deliver it to the pink door, not the white door. There's all these directions and stuff that are going to be particular to that delivery, and you're not going to want a new person. You're not going to regularly want people handling deliveries that they're not familiar with. Obviously, when you have new people come on and people leave and routes change and this person goes from that route to that route, there's things that are unavoidable. But with the AI factor that mealplansoftware.com should have, from what I understand, I believe the way it works is the AI will take the driver into consideration and have some kind of a tolerance where, okay, the route can be this much less efficient as long as it maintains the same driver, plus other things like that. Also being able to track live, so your clients would be able to log into their portal and see where the driver is instead of having to call you, and that cuts down on customer service time. That's one less call that you're going to have, and it provides a higher level of service. Toucan, I don't think has the ability. That's what we switched over to from OnFleet, and I'm not as familiar with that, but I don't think it has the ability to see in real time where the routes are. So that was one thing that we did like about OnFleet. So that's enough about the delivery stuff. If you want me to go into more detail about those different softwares, and I can go through and do like a screen share walkthrough and give my opinion of them specifically. I'm more familiar with OnFleet right now, and I'll show you how I was doing it. But the free ones, I think Route for Me is going to be the cheapest, and if it's not free, it'll be the cheapest. And then MapQuest. We're using MapQuest, man. If you got to make it super cheap, but I'm sure there's other free options out there. If you want to dig around, but you're definitely going to want a route optimizer. I don't want to endorse a specific one, so I'll just tell you what I'll be completely transparent with what experience I have and what my personal opinion is, but I'm not getting paid by any of them. I don't want to do anything that's like any of that nonsense. So check out Route for me, On Fleet, Toucan, or anybody else, and just make sure that they have features that are already developed in live, because a lot of them will tell you about features that are coming up or abilities that they're working on, and that's problems that we had because a lot of them were startups when we were dealing with them. But the ones that I mentioned, I would vouch for that you wouldn't go wrong with any of them. I'd say depending on where you are, some might be better than others for different things and what you're looking to do, but yeah, I would rock with any of them and give them a thumbs up. So like, subscribe, give me any comments about any other stuff that you want to see me cover, whether it's a deeper dive into logistics stuff or other stuff. I got some more videos planned. I got a lot more planned, but I want to know specifically what questions and problems I could be solving, because if I could prioritize that content and provide a better service faster, I am definitely about that. But until then, my name is Casey Cochran, co-founder, very proud co-founder of Fit Food Fresh, and I appreciate you watching this video and me babble on and listen to a little bit of nostalgia about how we started Fit Food Fresh and our sleepless nights. And whew, man, saw some weird stuff. Saw a guy in high heels with a spear gun walking down a street, and then later that night there's like this very aggressive chihuahua in the middle of this four-way intersection at the flashing red light, and the chihuahua just like wouldn't move. I was like honking at him and stuff. He was not afraid of my car, and that was a weird night. But you see some weird stuff on the road. That'll probably be another episode. Maybe we'll film some delivery routes. That would be fun. That's all I got for you.